Hello, everyone. A very warm good evening to all of you. Can you all please quickly confirm if I am audible and the screen is visible to all of you? So, I welcome you all to Get Set Law. So, let's get started without any further delay. All right. So, I'm just waiting for a quick confirmation if I'm audible and the screen is visible to everyone. All right. So here I am. In today's session, what we are planning to do here is that there are certain mock papers or sample papers which are released on behalf of MHCET, right? And since our exam is already around the corner, so we will be solving some of the papers online here with you all so that you all are also able to understand how to mark the answer, how to deduce the correct answer, and that is going to be the purpose for today's session, right? So, without any further delay, let's get started. And as you have already seen that I have logged in to the portal, right? And once you log in, you have to go to mock and psychometric test. And here you click on the dialog box and then you go to mock test portal. Here you will have to click on launch and then the test will be there. The test window will be opened. Just few things that you have to remember that there is a fixed duration for every test, right? So fixed duration in what sense? Fixed duration means basically the time period for the test, right? So the test will get automatically submitted once that time period is over. So I want you to take these tests seriously. When you are attempting these tests, when you are going and solving any of the test paper, just make sure that you are doing it properly. You're sitting for the time period, you're sitting and you are properly solving it. That is what I want you all to do. Invest time and solve it properly, right? So today, in today's session, we are going to start with the second test paper. Okay. Let's get started. And here I'll be discussing about your legal reasoning part of it. So today we'll be talking about the legal reasoning part. So yes, let's go ahead with that. So I will just, because I have opened this test, so it is coming as resume test button. But if you start it for the first time, it will come as start test button. So I'll go and I'll click on resume test here. And here again, you have to, one thing I would like to highlight here is please do not skip out on reading on the exam instructions. Exam instructions are very, very important for all of us. Why? Because it gives you certain clarity about whether there is negative marking or not, whether there is any change in instructions or not. So this become very important for you. Even though you know you have attempted this exam before, even though you know the pattern and everything, still I would recommend that make sure that you are reading this exam instruction properly because this is going to be helpful for you during the exam. One more thing, there's no negative marking in this exam, so we are not going to skip out on any of the question. We will be marking all the questions. So now you go ahead, you click on yes, you have read and accepted the disclaimer, terms and conditions and everything. And then you click on I am ready to begin. Once you click on I am ready to begin, your test duration will start. Since we are going to discuss the legal aptitude section, so I'm here on the legal aptitude part. And yes, the initial few questions will be based on your article on a comprehension, right? So what you have to do whenever a comprehension based passage comes, you have to read this comprehension very carefully. Just read the information which is given and then we'll go and we'll read the questions. So just try. You don't have to mug up anything. You just have to understand the essence of the passage and you're good to go. So if you read this passage, the for the second mock, the passage that is given, this passage is entirely talking about artificial intelligence, its impact on employment, how it is going to change employment dynamics in India, what steps should be taken by government, and all of those things. That is something which is mentioned in this article, right? So now let us look at the question and I will tell you how we can go about it, right? So when you look at this first question, so it is saying that what is one way AI is changing employment dynamics in India? So when we talk about employment dynamics, this particular information is already given in your passage. Okay. So this is given in last sixth line of your passage. So when we talk about changing employment dynamics, okay. So AI is going to create. So what AI is doing, a rise of AI has led to concern about job displacement, particularly in low skill and repetitive job categories. Expert argues that AI will create new employment opportunities in areas like data analysis, machine learning, and AI system maintenance. To adapt, India's workforce must embrace upskilling and reskilling. One thing I would like to mention here is whenever you are attempting any particular question on the basis of your passage, uh, of course, the line that you're reading is important. Like for us, the answer would be here that AI is going to create new employment opportunities. At the same time, chatbots power AI have replaced routine customer interaction, allowing human workers to engage in more complex problem solving roles, right? So when we talk about changing employment dynamics, uh, when we try to understand that okay, it is talking about AI has boosted productivity by automating repetitive tasks, right? So we know that okay, this is going to be our answer here. This particular question is going to be our answer here. So I would suggest that make sure that you are reading a line before and a line towards the end, right? Because sometimes certain explanations, sometimes certain caveats are also given. So that is something that you have to also understand. So your answer is here. So AI has boosted productivity by automating repetitive tasks in sectors like manufacturing, logistic, and customer services. So your information is here somewhere in the third line. So that is where we draw our answer from. And this is fifth number question from which it has started. So I'll take you to the first question from where the passage starts, right? So now this passage, the next question would be what is a potential negative impact of AI on employment according to the passage? So when we talk about the potential impact, okay, so AI has led to concern about job displacement, particularly in low skill and repetitive job category. This is the problem that is getting highlighted in the passage. So again, I've read that, and yes, I will mark my answer, which is job displacement in low skill categories that I have derived from the passage. So a negative impact. Can you see the passage started with exploring both opportunities and challenges? One question was on opportunity that we just marked, which was question number 5. I have taken you from the start, which is to question number 1, and your answer would be the next part of it, right? Now I click on next. So whenever you click on next, your answer is submitted. When you keep it marked for review, your answer is marked for review. Just one heads up that whenever you mark anything for review, it uh, gets automatically submitted. If you have chosen any of the answers, it will automatically get submitted. So just make sure that you are revisiting it once. So whatever you will keep marked for review will appear in purple. Otherwise, whatever you have marked answers for will appear in green. Okay. Can you see all of this that is given on the left hand side of your portal, right? So now let us look at the second question. Which sector is not mentioned in the passage as being impacted by AI? So here there are certain sectors being mentioned, which is manufacturing, logistic, and customer services. So here you see that manufacturing is already there, logistic is there, customer services is there, healthcare is not there. So this is going to be our answer. Next question that we have to take up here is AI is reshaping employment dynamics in India. So now let us try to go and read the question that how does the Indian government aim to address the challenge posed by AI? So this information is given here towards the last lines of the passage. So here government initiative like Skill India aim to prepare workers for AI driven industry. So here we have to see that okay, first is saying by banning the use of AI. By second option is by launching initiative. Third is by reducing the focus on technical education. Fourth is by offering unemployment benefits. So this is in sync with the passage. Whenever you're marking answers on the basis of the passage, keep it in mind that you have to make sure that you are sticking to the passage, the information given in the passage. Okay. So now let us move forward to the next question, or probably the last question for this particular passage. So, what is the long term potential of AI in India's employment sector as stated in the passage? So, it is talking about the long term potential. So, when we see that, okay, while AI might displace certain jobs, it also holds the potential to create a future of enhanced employment with a skilled and adaptable workforce. So, we have our answer. If you can analyze this particular part, so whatever information was given in the passage, all the answer was directly there, right? So all you have to do is you just have to read, you have to identify the right part which is talking about it, and you're good to go. Let's say you mark any of the incorrect answers here, you have an option of clicking on reset answer, and you are good to go. You can either choose to skip it, or you can choose to mark your correct answer. So that is there. And yes, one more heads up, please do not leave any of the questions unattempted, because there's no negative marking in the question paper. Okay. So moving forward to the sixth question, which is talking about rape is an offense against which of the following. Now let us understand something about it. Okay. So this particular question is talking about the fact where you need certain knowledge, some basic knowledge, right? So about the basic laws which are covered. So whether it is criminal law, torts, constitution, contract, certain basic information is required. So you need to know that, okay, rape is an offense which is committed against human body. So your correct answer is going to be human body. It's not against property. It is not against political party or society, right? Moving on to the next question, which one of the following has the correct sequence? So here again, you see, if you see this question requires certain basic knowledge about Contract Act, the correct sequence of it, right? So we need to know that, okay, what is the beginning of an offer? So an offer start, or maybe a contract starts from an offer. So we have three options, right? Now the offer needs to be accepted. So yes, we have this option. Rest of the options are not talking about it. Then there comes consideration, then there comes contract. So this seems like the appropriate answer. Why other answers are incorrect? Because it is keeping acceptance at the end, because offer needs to be accepted first. And again, it is keeping acceptance after consideration. There should be an acceptance first, and then there is consideration, then there is a contract. Okay. Now, moving forward to the next question. Under what circumstances can a judge of the Supreme Court be removed from the office? This again requires some additional knowledge of Indian Constitution. So, when we talk about removal of a judge, it is given in the Constitution that a judge can be removed only on grounds of proven misbehavior and incapacity. So this is going to be your correct answer. So we mark it and then we move forward. So here you look at other options: delivering wrong judgments, senility and dementia, gross inefficiency. These are something which I would say remotely can be considered, but the actual answer is already mentioned, so we will be going with that. Moving forward to the next question. The person who makes a proposal is called promisor. So this answer is talking about promisor, and the person accepting is called as promisee. Rest all the answers are inappropriate if you can read it. Okay. Next question. So IPC, it is talking about the full form, right? So it is talking about either Indian Police Code, Indian Penal Code, Indian Private Code, Indian Penal Chart. Just a heads up for you, we have seen one question in past from MHCET where we have seen that similar kind of question came up with respect to the full form of IPC. Okay. And there was one option of Indian Postal Code. So if you have such kind of option, then that is going to be your correct answer. But here we don't have that. So our correct answer is going to be Indian Penal Code, right? Next. So now this is a question of assertion reasoning. Here, again, to some extent, you will need some information. So first of all, you need to know what assertion is saying is true or not. So a minor's contract is void ab initio from the very beginning. Yes, we know that that is the right answer. Let's check out whether reasoning is true or not. So a minor is not competent to contract under Section 11 of Indian Contract Act. which section states that minor is not able to enter into the contract? If you can just drop it in the chat section, if all of you can put it in the chat section, which section of Indian Contract Acts makes minor incompetent to enter into the Indian Contract Act? Anyone who would like to give me an answer for this? So it is talking about the section, right? So you need to know certain important sections of Indian Contract Act as well. Like Section 10 talks about the validity of Indian Contract Act, which section talks about offer, which section talks about acceptance, which section defines contract. Which section defines consideration. All of this will become important for you. So make sure that you are reading all of these sections. We all know that minor is not competent, but is it under Section 11? Yes, the correct answer is that. So here both assertion and reasoning are true. That eliminates our option C and D. Now we have to see that whether this is correct or not. So yes, a minor's contract is void ab initio because a minor is not competent to contract under Section 11 of Indian Contract Act. So it is correctly explaining the assertion. So we can move forward to the next answer. What does the term payroll mean? So payroll, again, you need some basic understanding of it. So it means where a person is released, a prisoner is released before the completion of the sentence. So it is a conditional release. So yes, this is the correct answer, right? So we are going with this answer. Next is your public interest litigation. Who can file a public interest litigation? So in India, any citizen of India can file a public interest litigation. You don't have to be a political party or a registered association, or a minimum of 10 members are not required. This is a litigation which is filed in the interest of public, right? So we can, any citizen can go and file a public interest legislation, right? So let's move forward to the next question, which is, an agreement to commit a crime is not enforceable by law. Yes, this is again the correct assertion, right? A contract is legally enforceable only if it is made for a lawful purpose. It is not enforceable in the court of law, correct? We are agreeing on it. And then we are giving a reason that because a contract is legally enforceable only if it is made for lawful object. So yes, we are agreeing with it. So yes, both of it is true and it is correctly explaining the assertion. Next is the jurisdiction of Supreme Court of India may be enlarged by. So the jurisdiction is often enlarged by enacting a law in the parliament, because jurisdiction is defined in constitution, right? That there are different jurisdiction of the court. So that is already given. Different statutes mention about different jurisdictions. So for that you need a different laws to enlarge it, right? Next is solve. Here you have to solve this particular factual situation. So here P knows that Q has committed a murder and obtains a promise from Q to pay P 1 lakh rupees in consideration of not exposing Q, right? So in this case, what is this? In this case, I am saying that, okay, I have committed a murder and you know this, and I'm going to pay some amount to you if you don't expose it. But it is your duty as a citizen to expose this truth, to mention about this truth, to inform police authorities about it. So such kind of agreement is void. Such kind of agreement is not enforceable. Next question is, in India, because so I'm so sorry, going back to the previous question, why it is not enforceable? Because it is against the public policy. Next, in India, legal education is regulated by which body? So legal education is regulated by Bar Council of India, right? Question number 18 talks about who was the chairman of Constitution Drafting Committee. Very important question. It was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar who was the chairperson of the Constitution's Drafting Committee. Right? This such kind of questions when it comes to constitution, who prepared objective resolution, first president of independent India, first prime minister of independent India, symbols of national importance, certain articles, all of this are very important for you. So make sure that you are reading all of it before you goes for exam, right? Okay. legal principle is given here. So we have to answer this factual situation on the basis of this legal principle. It is stating that a right of action cannot arise out of an illegal activity. So if somebody is doing an illegal activity, then that person will not get a right of action. Okay. So Hari promises to obtain for Pari an employment in public services, means government job, and Pari has to pay certain amount for that. So I am going to give you a government office if you pay certain amount to me. So is it not corruption? Is it not bribery for offering certain amount for getting a public post, which is merit based on exchange of certain amount, right? So such kind of contract is illegal. It is an illegal activity. What is the nature of contract? The question is, what is the nature? It is not a valid contract. It is void as consideration, for it is unlawful. Yes, this seems to be the correct answer. Other answers are not right because it is making it voidable or enforceable by law, which is not the right answer. Next is Article 370 of Constitution is related to. Again, very simple. It talks about special provision for state of Jammu and Kashmir, right? Next, A confined her daughter D in a room, and A also did not provide any food to her daughter, which resulted in her death of starvation. What offense has been committed, right? So I have done an act which resulted in your death. I have not provided you any food or anything which resulted in your death due to starvation. First option is no offense. Just one thing before I move into other options, when you come across any of such question where no such principle is given, here you have to apply the legal knowledge that you have, the basic knowledge that you have. If you look at the questions that we are talking about here, this requires some very basic conceptual application, not too in-depth application, but very basic conceptual application which is expected out of any law aspirant, right? So let's go to other options. Then the second option is she is liable for the offense of confining. Okay. Next is causing death. Last is not providing food to tea. So this is again not a crime. Out of these two, yes, she caused her death due to starvation, because of starvation, because she died uh, as no food was given to her. So this is going to be the right answer for us. Next question. And all illegal agreements are void, but all void agreements are not. So try to understand it. When we talk about void agreement, an agreement can be void for multiple reasons. Okay. There can be an illegal act. So let's say you and I enter into an agreement to kill someone or to commit some act which is not allowed by law or which is illegal by law, maybe for smuggling or anything. So that becomes an illegal agreement. But let's say when you enter into a contract with person of unsound mind or a minor, then that is although a void agreement, but it is not illegal. Okay. You will not be put behind the bars if you enter into a contract with a minor or maybe enter into a contract with a person of unsound mind. So this is going to be our correct answer. But all void agreement are not illegal. This is not the right answer. This is again not the right answer for the obvious reasons, because it is not talking about free consent. Why are we not going with the term unenforceable? Because of the conjecture B here, which is saying that, okay, but which is connecting it in such a manner that where we are trying to draw the inference from the previous sentence only. So that is why we will go with the term illegal here. Okay, moving on to the next question, which has a legal principle. So, whoever dishonestly misappropriates or convert to their use any movable property belonging to another person is guilty of criminal misappropriation. So, it is giving a definition of criminal misappropriation. Let us look at the question. So, A finds a diamond ring not knowing to whom it belongs, and then he sells it immediately to the jeweler. As a person who gets something who finds something which is not mine, my first duty is to go and report about it, right? But when I did not do that, I tried to sell it. In fact, I have already sold it. What I have done is I have converted that property to my use. I have converted their own use for my own use. So yes, I am guilty of criminal misappropriation in this case. Correct? When the divorce is pronounced by a Muslim husband, it is called as talaq. So whenever a Muslim husband pronounce a divorce, it is known as talaq. Okay. Law Commission of India is a dash body. It is not a constitutional or a statutory body. Rather, it is a executive body. So that is your answer here. CSR stands for, so yes, it is corporate social responsibility. That is your answer here. Next is, again, it is talking about cyber crime. So it is talking about unauthorized access to a computer system or network. Data theft and hacking are punishable offenses. So it is talking about that whenever you somebody does some unauthorized or has some unauthorized access to a computer system or a network or tries to steal the data or tries to hack something, then it becomes a punishable offense under cybercrime laws. Fair enough. Any person who without permission accesses, steals, or damages data or disrupt a computer system is liable for legal consequences. This is mentioned here. Now let us look at the factual situation, which is stating that Amit, a software engineer, gains unauthorized access to his former employer's server using old credentials that was not deactivated. So a person has left the job and this person is gaining unauthorized access. Okay. Of course, the credentials were not deactivated, so he had those credentials, but this access was unauthorized. So again, we have this category unauthorized, right? So he what he did was next he downloaded some confidential client data and he shares that with the rival company. And later, the employer discovers the data breach and files a complaint under cybercrime laws. So, what happened in this case? That was discovered and a complaint was filed in this case. Okay. So, uh, here, when we say that, okay, in this case, based on the legal principle and factual situation, which of the following is most appropriate legal outcome in this case? So let's look at the option. Amit is not guilty because he was previously an employee and had access. That will not give you access, or that will not give you an authorization to download and share it with the rival company. Next is he is guilty of cybercrime as he accessed the system without authorization and stole the data. Okay, this looks like an answer. Okay, is not guilty. Again, it is not the correct answer. Next is he is guilty only if rival company used the stolen data for profit. That does not see. The principle is not talking anywhere about how that data is used. It is only talking about the action, the commission part of it. So yes, Amit is guilty about it. So will move on to the next question. Dash is a bill which is passed by both houses of parliament and assented to by the president. So now I want all of you to give me the answer for one question here. This question I will answer, don't worry. So the answer would be apt. I want all of you to take a moment and give me an answer for what is an ordinance. Okay. I will wait for 5 comments at the end of this video. If I get 5 answers explaining it, I will give you correct definition of what is an ordinance. Okay, just give me correct answer for what do you understand by the term ordinance, right? Let's move ahead to the next question. So respect for national flag is added as fundamental duty. My question here would be, through which constitutional amendment fundamental duty was added in constitution? It is very important amendment which all of us should know, so do let me know in the comment section through which constitutional amendment fundamental duties were added. Yes, I will take all of yours questions towards the end of the session. We are just about to solve 3 more questions. Whatever doubts you have, you can put it in the chat section. I have chat section open right in front of me, so I'll take it up towards the end. But I have asked you 2 questions which I want all of you to answer for me. First, the definition of ordinance, and second would be which constitutional amendment added fundamental duty to our Indian Constitution. This is very important. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is RTI stands for. So RTI stands for Right to Information, correct? Let's go to the next question. Under the Indian legal framework, which of the following statement best reflects the purpose of imprisonment? So when we talk about Indian legal framework, or rather the criminal justice system in India, it is more about uh, reformation, then vengeance. It does not talk about vengeance. It does not talk about eye for an eye. It is majorly towards the fact that we have to reform the mindset of the criminal, make him a part of the society. So that is the main crux of Indian legal framework. So now let us look at the options which is here. So to punish the offender and make them suffer, no, this is not the objective. Next is to reform the offender and integrate them. Yes, this looks like an answer. Isolate the offender, no, this is again not the objective. To exploit offender, this is again not the objective. So this is our correct answer. Last question, dash word is not included in preamble of Indian Constitution. So the correct answer would be yes, justice is there, sovereign, socialist again there, morality is the correct answer. Although morality is reflected in the spirit of Constitution, it is not explicitly mentioned in our Constitution. Just few tips towards the end of this discussion, because we have solved all the questions. I would like to mention few things here is that whenever you're marking the answer, as you might have noticed that I was reading every question, every answer, every option. I want all of you to spend that time and read every answer, okay? And read every option properly. If you are reading, then only you will be able to figure out the correct answer. Otherwise, that will become difficult for you. So what we have to do is we have to focus on elimination instead of focusing a lot on finding the correct answer. Focus on eliminating the options. That gives you more chance of gaining the correct answer. So yes, we have solved one paper for today's session, and yes, we'll continue with such we'll continue and we'll solve more such paper. We'll continue and we'll discuss more such paper. So my waiting for all of you to answer my questions. Now, let me just take up questions from the chat section. Uh, okay. See, to answer your question, Jen, okay. Please tell me if I have pronounced your name incorrectly. Okay. So whether paper is going to be easy or hard, overall, see, if I will give you a straightforward answer for it, uh, if we have prepared the paper, the level of difficulty of paper is always between moderate. It's always a balanced paper. For MHCT, what we have seen throughout our past is that the paper is very balanced. If one section is difficult, the other is easy. But if we are not properly prepared, then we might find it difficult. So it's a very subjective answer, I would say. So, yes, I would like to say all the best to everyone. Just make sure that you are attempting the paper very calmly, very clearly, and and you are not getting all of those fear there. Whatever is your first instinct to mark in the paper, make sure you're following those first instinct. You're marking your paper based on your first instinct, not putting a lot of analysis on your answers, because then a high chance is there that you might land up in the incorrect question. So we don't want that. So yes, that's all from my end. I'll see you all again with another paper analysis. Till then, keep practicing, score well, drop in your scores in the comment section, and let me know in the comment section if this video was useful for you or not. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you